Hi, everybody. It's William and Johan again, and we're back in our studio talking about 5G versus Wi-Fi. Um, so let's just start in right away with asking Johan, what is private 5G?
Private 5G, that is very similar to your mobile network, your cellular network. The only thing specific or special about it, that it's your private 5G, that it is your own base stations, your own network core, and your own SIMs that are all sort of in your system, in your LAN.
In other words, you don't have to pay an operator monthly subscription fees.
Exactly.
So there's a better security with it. You're actually not on the internet.
Yeah. If you want to be on the internet, you can go on the internet, but that's sort of from your networking out. So you don't have to go over the internet to be able to use a private 5G.
Often private 5G gets compared with Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi applications. Where is private 5G better than Wi-Fi?
Well, a sure winner is outdoor. Anything outdoor is usually problematic when it comes to Wi-Fi. Now, I'm not talking about outdoor as in backside of your house. I'm talking about like in industry where there's large areas. So if you have any large outdoor areas, or if you have any large open buildings, I mean, factories, warehouses.
A campus type situation.
Absolutely. So we'll excel there. There's high security in private 5G. You have your own SIM cards. Everything is encrypted. It will never leave your network. So security-wise, it is much safer than Wi-Fi. Anything with moving vehicles. If you are traveling faster than walking and you try to keep a connection, that will be a problem in Wi-Fi. It will sort of sometimes drop it or do handovers and drop data packages during the handovers.
Great. But isn't private 5G expensive? I've heard some pretty horrible numbers.
It can be, depending on what you choose, but normally if you compare it in larger installations, I mean, and Wi-Fi access point has a really small covered area, and that is one of the problems. So normally you say that an access point covers like 300 square meters, and a private 5G base station, small private 5G base station, it looks like an access point. It's no bigger than an access point. It's a bit more expensive than your standard access point, but it'll do at least 10 times the covered area, which means that this can be used instead of 10 Wi-Fi access points. So if you have more than a handful of access points, this is an option. If you go for the big installations, like the outdoor base stations and do it inside, you can have more than 10,000 times the coverage compared to an access point. So if you look at those numbers, it's actually cheaper. I mean, when you go over 10 access point, it might be cheaper to go to private 5G because it will give you better. I mean, not only will it give you better security, better quality of service, but it actually becomes cheaper than doing access points, especially if you consider pulling cable to access points. That could be expensive if you do it in factory.
What other benefits does private 5G give me?
Yeah, I talked a little bit about security. Security is a big thing in the mobile networks. It is a lot more safe since you're using a SIM card. It's not just like a password you can share with your friends, or I mean, you actually need this specific SIM card. Everything is highly encrypted all the way from the client device all the way into your network core. And from there, you decide what you want to do with it. You have the quality of service, and that's also, it's not only quality of service per se, it's also prioritizing. In the 5G networks, traffic priority and quality of service is built into the hardware. That's a huge difference from Wi-Fi, where you solve some of these quality of service things with like a software on the top of the access point. I mean, this is by design built for different levels of service.
Are there
And
any downsides to private 5G? Because you're just talking about, you know, wonderful stuff.
yeah, well, when it comes to private 5G, you will need a 5G router or a 5G modem, or you will need like a cellular device that can handle this. So it's more of a business or industry thing than your sort of private thing to use. I mean, it'll need these things to work.
Is there, you're talking about using a router. So like, could you have like a situation where you're using a 5G router to get your network coverage in a truck, but within the truck you're using the Wi-Fi from the router?
Absolutely, it's very common. So I mean, you usually have like a computer in the truck, or they have a handheld device in the truck, or they have a tablet in the device in the truck, and they can use that. So that's not a problem. So,
Where is Wi-Fi better?
well, normally in small spaces. So if you have an office or you're at home, anywhere where like a single or maybe two access point will cover that area, Wi-Fi is much cheaper, or at least cheaper in the small installations. Wi-Fi has extreme performance. I mean, peak performance is really, really good, even though that performance drops off really fast. 5G is more linear, it'll drop slowly. Anything that has to do with like guests or people coming visiting want to connect stuff, or you have employees that want to connect their own devices, well, of course, Wi-Fi is so much easier to work with.
Great. That was very helpful.